Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the role of audit firms in corporate scams. And I'm going to touch only four scams, three recent and one in the past. And we'll see how the role of auditors and especially the big four, how they are involved in corruption and how they have helped the top management to do scams and how they have hidden the information and their negative role and how they have neglected their duty. So everybody remembers Satyam. Satyam, the main auditors were PwC. They were suspended for 2 years also, but nothing much happened. Few direct auditors were made scapegoat, but the company as a whole is still doing audit and they are still into mainframe. And it is not about only the big four, but we are talking about big four because I mean they take a lot of money and a lot of responsibilities imposed on them, and a lot of responsibilities there on them, and they are neglecting their duty. Otherwise, in almost all scams, the audit firms are always in question, and definitely, I mean, there is involvement of audit firms, and that's how the scams takes place. Otherwise, if the audit firms report the true situation of the company and there's no corruption over there, and they report the true situation, and if they do their duty, then these scams will not take place. So the audit firms are equally responsible with the management because they are in hand in gloves with the management. Otherwise, scams cannot happen. And most of us know, and those who don't know, I'll tell you that there are many audits through which company goes. There is internal audit, external audit, cost audit, and I mean every type of stock audit. So every time there are around 7 to 8 types of audits through which a company undergoes. But there are two main audits. One is the internal audit, and the other one is the external audit. External auditors are the auditors who actually finalize the balance sheet, and their signatures are there on the balance sheet. They undertake that whatever that the balance sheet is true and as per the records presented before them, and their responsibility is prime. So I mean, if something goes wrong, then they are held responsible. So in Satyam scam, PwC was held responsible. Now recently in IL&FS scam, there were three auditors: Deloitte, KPMG, and EY. All three were held responsible. And in Yes Bank, BSR and Company, which is the EY, is held responsible. And in the DHFL bank scam, this Deloitte is held responsible. Deloitte were the auditors. What is common in each and every scam which I have discussed? The auditors have failed to report, or they have failed to properly report. The reason is very simple, because they are also involved in that with the top management. They are involved in corruption. There is money which has exchanged, and there is just because of corruption, because otherwise they would have reported the events, reported the abnormalities in the accounts, but they have failed to do so, and they have continuously failed to do so. And because of the neglection of duty by the big audit firms, who, mind you, they take a lot of money. They take lakhs and lakhs. Sometimes the billing goes in crores. So they take lakhs and lakhs of money for audits. And if they neglect their duty, then what is the point in giving so much of money? Instead of giving the money to the big firms, the big four, or the big corporate firms, it is good that you give audit to local firms. The local big firms, give them money, because you hire big companies, you hire big four, so that it is ensured that their people will not involved in corruption, or these companies will not involved into corruption, and they will not be hand in glove with the top management who is actually doing the scam. But if this purpose is failing, and it is failing time and again, so there should be fingers on the audit firms also, that why it is happening, and there should be restrictions on them also, that they cannot take more than certain audits in an year, and they should not be given a special treatment which they normally take. They seek special treatment, and recently the courts have also absolved them, and they have also, they have found them guilty, but they have not taken very strict action against them. And although in Yes Bank, the case is still going on, but normally the audit firms, they take advantage of the fact that they are independent auditors, and they do audit on whatever accounts they are presented before them. But there are certain red flags, there are certain certain procedures through which they have to go, and if they go through procedures, then definitely they have to report. The problem is that it is their failure to report which leads to scam, and their failure to report in successive quarters and in successive years, that builds up, and it helps the top management to do the scam. So they cannot say that they don't know. They definitely know, but they hide the information. There is corruption involved in this. Definitely there is money involved in this, and then they take money and then they hide the information and let the top management cheat the common public and cheat the common people. Who is at loss? The government and the common public. If Yes Bank was not supported by SBI, then whose stake was there? I mean, the poor people who are actually holding account in Yes Bank, and similarly, and DHFL also, ILFS also. If these companies fail, then the common man, the taxpayers' money gets involved. If government gives a bailout and bails out any firm, then it is our money which is going in that bailout. So audit firms, that if they are taking a lot of money, then I mean there's a big question mark on them, what they are doing, and why they are charging so much. Because if there is no credibility of these firms, then there is no big and small audit firms. Everybody is same. And I mean, if you big firms are no guarantee. They are also involved in corruption, and they are involved in big corruption. Their main purpose is to highlight these points, is to highlight red flags, is to tell others, tell the government, tell the authorities that something is amiss, something is going wrong in company. But what happens? They find that something is going wrong, then they join hands with the scamsters or the top management, and then they are involved in this scam. So they should also be punished, and they should be severely punished. And the courts are very lenient in giving punishment, but they should also be seriously punished, because it is because of auditors only that such scams happen. Otherwise, if they report it in first quarter itself or second quarter itself, the abnormalities, if they report, then these scams will not happen. And this is neglected. We only target the top management. We target people like Vijay Mallya, we target people like Nirav Modi, but we don't see how they became so big and how they were able to escape, because they run public and private limited companies, so every company is subjected to audit. How they are able to escape? Because it is because of auditors they are able to escape. But nobody pays attention. The government doesn't pay attention, and auditors they take a lot of money, and they charge heavily, and they are I mean, they are supposed to do their duty, but they neglect their duty. And the government, or neither the institute, they don't take much action against them. Only few people are made scapegoats. But it is actually the management of these audit firms also which are involved. So these managements, whoever is managing it, the management should be held responsible, because I mean, few partners cannot do this. The management has to get involved, and it is a big scam which is hidden. Thank you. Hope you liked my views, and if you liked it, then please like and subscribe. Otherwise, thank you. Thanks for listening.